Hey folks, it's time to check on our little cool season babies. I planted these about 3 weeks ago, and I just wanted to go over some care tips and some things you can do to get them ready to go outside once it's time. So first things first, they have been growing next to a really bright window, but in addition to that, I've got one of these super cool grow lights. They're really handy for making sure that our little seedlings are getting enough lighting, because sometimes a sunny window in the winter time isn't quite enough for them. It also helps keep them nice and short instead of growing and stretching really leggy. And I can kind of show you what that looks like. I actually do have some broccoli seedlings that are a bit leggy. And so this is not ideal. Leggy plants don't tend to be as strong and sturdy. They tend to fall over when it's windy because they're really reaching for that light. So a leggy broccoli is not ideal, and honestly I'm not quite sure if these guys are gonna make it through. So that's the first thing. Second thing is watering. You want to make sure to check on your seedlings fairly often for watering. So although it's not daily, you may want to just kind of check on them daily and rotate them as needed, just to make sure that they're getting enough light and water. We kind of want to baby them at this point, making sure they're nice and healthy and even. Another thing that I do, and we'll use this leggy broccoli as an example, is thinning. So what I mean by thinning is there's a lot of seeds I planted in there, but I probably won't keep all of them. If you take a look. So this little guy doesn't quite look healthy. It's a little chlorotic. What I'm gonna do is just pull it. We don't need it. This one, too tall. There's no new leaf growing and it's still trying to reach up towards the sky, so I'm pulling it. See how leggy that is? And we'll see if we can get these other three to kind of do something for us. Now, even though there's three together, that's too close to plant outside, but they're okay growing at this point. And I'll use my kale as an example, but something like this, where there's multiple plants in a cell, that's something I'll probably divide once we're outside. So by that I mean I'll separate them and then plant them farther apart once they're outdoors. But at this point, I'm just gonna leave them like they are. Another thing I wanted to point out too is if you do have plants that start kind of outgrowing their containers, you can pot them up into a bigger one. I will use my glorious peas as an example. This is one that I started way too early, and now they're growing and climbing a little trellis. The other really cool thing about this is my trellis has started leafing out. It's a clove currant that I cut back this winter, and it's decided that it's spring and wants to grow. So kind of a cool little experiment, and these guys will go outside soon too. And then the last thing, and this seems a little brutal, but we gotta get these babies used to the elements, is when our weather starts turning to about 50s or 60s, I'm actually gonna put these outside for a little bit and have the wind blow and get them used to what it's like to have wind and cold and sunshine. And then I'll do that for a couple hours at first, bring them back inside. And at nighttime, they'll sleep in here. And then I'll do that gradually, longer and longer, over about a week period, maybe a little more, to the point where they're happy and healthy and able to stick around outside without getting too dramatic. And then once the weather is consistently 50s and 60s, we're hoping mid-March, they'll be able to go outside permanently. So that's a little care tips for you. And yeah, I'll see you next time.